everybody, Brandon Parker back again with another tutorial. This time this tutorial is going to be a tutorial on Adobe Premiere Pro. Adobe Premiere Pro is a really neat editing software. It's pretty neat. What I really like about it off the bat is the fact that it has a version for both Mac and Windows. It's like the only program that's out like like Final Cut and Sony Vegas. They only have like Sony Vegas only has a Windows version, not a Mac version, and like Final Cut it's only made by Apple, so there's only a Mac version of that. So I really like that Adobe Premiere Pro is for Mac and Windows. I really like that a lot. And also what I really like about it is if you ever use Final Cut and you play around with the new version Final Cut X, which is also known as Final Cut 10, you probably really won't like Final Cut too well because it's just kind of boring, and you really like the Final Cut 7. Well, what you're going to like about is in Adobe Premiere Pro is that it's kind of similar to the previous versions of Final Cut. And I really like that everything is pretty much, the layout is pretty much the same as Final Cut 7 and before. So I really like that a lot, and I'll be showing you in this tutorial why it's similar to Final Cut 7 and previous versions, and why I really don't like Final Cut 10 too well. I've told you that a few times in my Final Cut 10 tutorials, but I'm going to be showing you why this is a good alternative if you ever use Final Cut before, or if you ever want to get a Mac and you want to get a piece of editing software and you want to know what's good and what's best for you to use. I would say right now the good alternative to use, and I say the best, is probably going to be like Adobe Premiere Pro, because it's similar to Final Cut 7. And the only way to get Final Cut 7 is if you like pirate it or something, because right now they don't really sell it. So if you can find a pirated version, and it might not work too well, so I suggest you should try getting Adobe Premiere, because also Adobe Premiere, of course, Adobe created After Effects, so it'll work really well with that. Aside from that a little bit, the only thing I kind of don't like is the FX Factory Pro plugins. You can't really use them in Adobe Premiere, but you can use them in After Effects. So if you're trying to want to use something with the FX Factory Pro and stuff, and if you know anything about FX Factory Pro, I talked about them a little bit. I'll put a link in the description because you have to pay for those as they're not free, but they got some free plugins with FX Factory Pro, so you can play around with that a little bit. I'll put a link in the description to try them out. Check out FX Factory Pro, and if you have the Master Collection or if you have After Effects with Adobe Premiere, you can use them together, and you can, if you need to use the FX Factory plugins, you go into After Effects and do your stuff. And pretty much what I do in my editing is I will mess around with what I'm not going to do in After Effects. I'll put that into my editing software, play around with that a little bit, put that all together first, and then when I get to the parts of me, whatever I need to do with my special effects, if I'm trying to go into like if I'm doing a special power effect, or kind of like what I did on my my previous video that I did on my Spinock channel, which is the recent video that I've uploaded. That one I kind of play around with After Effects when I got to it a little bit, and I play around with my editing software, which is Final Cut 7, and I'm going to be using probably Adobe Premiere Pro from now on, because I kind of don't really like that Final Cut is not working too well, and it's kind of going out a little bit, because it's Final Cut 7 is just not updated, and it's just not ready for Mountain Lion, I don't think, and it's just not working too well. So, and I'm not a fan of Final Cut 10, so I'm going to be playing around with Adobe Premiere Pro a lot. So let's get into the tutorial and show you some of the features and why it's similar to the previous versions of Final Cut, and I'm going to show you that, and let's go, let's get inside. Okay, we're opening up Adobe Premiere Pro CS6, and I'm going to be talking about, like I said, all the features about it, what's new in here, and why it's similar to the previous versions of Final Cut, which is Final Cut 7, 6, and 5. Okay, so what we're going to do is, since I already have recent projects, and this is when I'm going to open up a project that I'm starting, so I'm going to edit my new video for my second channel, which is Spinock. I'm going to be editing that in here a little bit, and this is the timeline, as you can see, if you're new to Adobe Premiere Pro, or if you're already know Adobe Premiere but you want to know the new features. I'm just giving you an overview. So this is the timeline. This is, of course, the video preview. A lot of video editing programs, they keep them all the way to the right, and right here, this is where you view your files. So down here, this is where you grab and put your files. So you can go to File and Import. So if you want to import a new footage, so we go to Import. Okay, and you go to wherever it is. So I would go to desktop files, and it's in footage, and it would be whatever's right in here. I'm gonna take okay, I got the first two, so I'm gonna take this. And it's good to put your files in a folder and then drag the whole folder in there or whatever. This is like a sequence. Final Cut has the sequences. This is sequence 1 with all the files in here. So this is all these contained in this sequence. So this is all sequence 1. And if you you can go to File, New, and you can create a new sequence. And a new sequence is going to have its own timeline with it. So if you go to File and we go to New Sequence, you want the settings of it to be 1080 24p. That's how I want it. Settings, you would keep this is just the width of the preview. It's going to be 1280 by 1080. That doesn't really matter because we're not going to output it to that. We're probably, for me, I'd output it to Blu-ray quality, which is like 1900 by 1080 or 1920 by 1080, whatever the Blu-ray is. Should be like, I think it's like 1900 by 1080, somewhere around there. That's a Blu-ray size. And usually about what I do my wallpapers in, if I'm doing something in Photoshop, that's about the size I put my wallpapers in. HD quality size, which is Blu-ray. The max Blu-ray quality, and DVC Pro, just leave all that there and press OK. And then this is going to be your new sequence and all that's going to be with it. So see this? This is the first sequence. And this is the second sequence. So we want to go on the first sequence. You double click that, and that's all that's on the first sequence. And say you're on this and you want this. You could drag the first sequence, and what's on the first sequence is whatever you edited on the first sequence. It's going to be all that together. So it's going to be all in its own. It's going to be all together if you drag that there. But we put it on the second sequence. So whatever's on the first sequence is just going to stay, and whatever's on the second sequence. We put the first sequence on the second, and you can even put the second on the first. But since we don't have anything on the second other than what we put in the first, it's just going to be the same thing. So we're just going to get rid of the second sequence. I just wanted to show you that. And Final Cut Pro 7, 6, and 5, they have that same thing, the sequence thing. That's what's similar to Final Cut Pro is the sequence thing. Another thing, let's see. Let's go to where you can go to your effects. So you got, this is the third. So we go to here. We want to drag this on in here. And what you can do is, see this? This is to make it shorter. You want to cut off the beginning. Okay, so we want to cut this off. Where do you want it to start? Okay, let's say we wanted to start like right here. Like, okay, it shows. I guess we wanted to start like, okay, like right there. Okay, and then you can cut off what you don't want. You go all the way to the end of it. Okay, and this is how I do it. Okay, and we take to however long we want it. So we'll just shorten this to, let's see, I guess, let's see to right about there and show you what that looks like. Okay. Okay, right here, this is what this is going to look like. Okay. And to get rid of the audio, say if it's bad, you can add your own ambient sounds, like different sounds, royalty free. Adobe comes with its own. You can download it on the Adobe website. You just go to like After Effects. You go to like I think you go to like Window and you download additional content or help. Somewhere around in here, it'll say like I know on After Effects it had a somewhere in the help area where you could download additional content, It'll allow you to download additional content. You can get to like royalty-free audio sounds for like ambient sounds, siren sounds, sound effects. We could to get rid of the audio on here, you would right click and you go to unlink, and I don't know if it has a shortcut to it. I don't know if there's a shortcut button, but you just right click on it and unlink, and then that's how you get rid of the audio. And say if you want to add a transition, you go to just right down to your effects area, and you go to your video effects, actually video transitions it would be, and it's your video transitions, and you want to add whatever transitions you got. Since I don't really have any the like different effects that I have for Final Cut Pro, which is the FX Factory, but they work in After Effects, so I don't really need to worry about these. And really, I don't really like any other transitions other than the basic one, which is dip to black or dip to white, or the basic dissolve ones, which comes with pretty much every editing software. Is this what you see down here? So I go to dissolve to black, and you put it right where you want it. So if you put it right here, it's going to start at the beginning. This is going to be in the middle, and this is going to be at the end. So the middle, beginning, and end. So probably the middle is where you might want it. This is how it would look in the middle. That's also similar to Final Cut Pro 7, 6, and 5. That's nice. So we're going to undo that and see what it looks like with it on the end. Okay, like that. That was a cross dissolve that I added there. Let's go back to dip to black on that. See what that looks like on the end. Nothing much different there with that. Let's go to see what it looks like on the beginning, which would be at the end of the first clip, which is this right here. And I think what red means on here, it means it's already rendered. So it automatically renders it for you. I think yellow meaning it's not rendered yet. So I think that's what it's pretty much it automatically renders it for you, I guess. So yeah, that's what that means. Because I thought you'd have to give it a second. And of course, it's taking a lot of memory, especially when I'm recording at the same time as I'm doing this. So it's probably going to be a little slow. But usually when I'm editing in here without screen recording what I'm doing in this tutorial, it usually doesn't really lag at all, and I really like that. And it does all of the rendering for you and stuff, so you don't really have to do anything about that. So we're gonna clear this, get rid of it. Oh, you can edit. Let's go back to this. That's where you edit how you want it to happen. So you double click on it, and you want it to start at 0, and where do you want it to end? You can resize, end at 100%, end at cut, start at cut. You change it, see? Center at cut, where you want to be at center. So that right there, that's similar to, like I said, Final Cut 7, 6, and 5. That's similar to that. A little bit the same as Final Cut X, but I ain't gonna go into that because Final Cut X is kind of bad. I don't really like that version of Final Cut 12, which is the newest one. So there's that for the basics of that. The transitions, add whichever ones you want. And then these are the different effects. The one that I have, Magic Bullet, these are Red Giant effects. You have to pay for these. These are not free. So I'll put a link in the description to check these out. I use a lot is the Magic Bullet Mojo. That's what I'm using to bring out make it more of a film look a little bit. I still play around with the color correction on it. I'd go to like maybe color balance, maybe on the image control. We can go to color balance, play around with the reds on it a little bit. and the greens a little bit. We can play around with the blues, how you want that. Then you can add a gamma correction. Not much, too much. Play around with what you have. We can go here, and if you want to copy, make sure you go to if you want to copy this and put it onto this. So say if you have this and you want it on this one, what you're going to do is you're going to do this, and you go to file, and you go to select all on it. Make sure actually be edit select all. We got to make sure we're on this edit select all. Okay, or you can just right click on this, like copy whichever ones you want. So you want to copy them, since we already have the Mojo copied, you could right click on, let's right click on, so we want this, and you go to, on your Mac, command, you press command left click on your Mac. It would probably be on Windows control left click for the option to highlight these, and you go to right click and you go to copy. Okay, and then you click on this and you go to edit and you go to paste, and they would be there. There's your color balance and your gamma correction. Since I don't really like the effect because it made it, so I'm just going to get rid of it. And I'm going to go back to here and I'm going to get rid of it, the effect. So that's what you do there. And if you ever used After Effects before, you see these stopwatches right here. These are for animating it. So if you check it, you want it to animate it at this time and change it, you want to change its color, we're going to undo that. That's what the stopwatch for. So if you want it at this time and you want to animate it, you can animate that. I know in After Effects there's a way where it automatically do it for you. I think it's probably better to do it manually if you're not really, don't really, like I say, not that good with it. I say do it manually, because if you have it do it for you automatically, you're going to have trouble going frame by frame. Like each one is a frame, this is a frame, this is a frame, and you're going to have trouble syncing it if you have it do it automatically. So if you have it do it manually, do it yourself, you just click on the stopwatch wherever you want it to happen. So if you want it to happen here, you want to change the bleach, you want the bleach color to change at this time, like to whatever, you bring this up. So say you want it to look like that, it'll look like that at this time. So, but make sure, and then you put the bleach back to 0 on, okay, we add it right here. We want it to be 0 right here. So it'll automatically be added. When you have that checked, it'll automatically do it. When it's not checked, yeah. Okay, so right here, it's going to start changing. It's going to look very bleached at that time. And you can see it's lagging because it needs to go through it a little bit. And there's that right there. That's how it looks. And give it a one more look to see how it looks again. And it looks very bleached right there. Right there. And that's pretty neat. A little bit. This is also a little bit of a preview of a project I'm working on for my second channel, which is called Spinock. On that channel, I'm doing just a sketch video there, whatever you want to call it, a sketch. It's going to be like a special power video, me with my friend, where we did a video together on this, and we're fighting each other, doing special powers, trying to do something different with my channel. On Spinock, I do like random videos there. I do like, sometimes I'll do a parody because I like creating my own beats and music, and I'm thinking about doing a parody. I'm going to do like Better Off Alone probably. That one's going to be a parody that I'm going to do sometime soon after I edit this video, after I do this. Or if I decide, I might do something, because I wasn't really sure what to do with this footage, what I'm going to do with it. Something with special powers or something. Maybe I might mix it together with the parody or something or whatever. I don't know. And that's pretty much it on this video for the overall basics of Adobe Premiere Pro. A little bit playing around with the features a little bit. Master Collection CS6 has been out. I haven't really played around with it that much. So I just started playing with it for the past few days or so, and pretty much all the features are pretty much the same as Final Cut a little bit, and that's it. Getting you started a little bit. Thanks for checking out my video. That's it. See you later. Also check me out on my other channel, which is Spinac. Like I said in the video, I'm editing a video for that. And also don't forget to check out my gaming channel. I do so far I've done Modern Warfare. I've done 2 videos on that, and I'm going to be doing like Gotham City Imposters. And then I'm going to be doing a bunch of other games and stuff, whatever, like a bunch of classic games and whatever, just random games. If you have any suggestions on anything or any questions or whatever, just ask me in the description box. You see some locations of where I'm at, links to that. And the best place to ask me is probably on my website. I have my emails, which is on my website. You can check me out, my Facebook, everything in the description. And that's it. See you later. And until next time when I do another video, tutorial, or whatever, see you later, and that's it.